Evan Carmichael is an author, speaker, and YouTuber who Gary Vee called the content DJ that inspired people. He went from making $300 per month and being introverted and shy to having 300 million people watching his YouTube videos. Need motivation?
Watch your top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like na 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 na. For my top 10, top 10, na 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 na. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Nina Carmichael. We made these videos because you're probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of much more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, my husband Evan Carmichael, and his top 10 rules for success. Enjoy! Okay, let's kick it up with rule number 1. Find your who, why, and how.
Humans are built to serve. You want to help people. It's hardwired into us. Serving other people touches the same part of our brain as eating food and having sex. You need it. But how do you serve? What is your purpose? How do you find your passion? I'm going to answer that in this video. So earlier this year, I went across 90 days, 23 cities across the US on a tour, speaking tour. And in my head, my plan was to talk about how to overcome judgment, how to take the 2% difference and just start acting on your ideas. And I had this template for what I wanted to talk about. And as I started getting more questions, the single thing that came up over and over and over again from 23 different cities across the entire country, from Pittsburgh to San Diego and back, was how do I find my purpose? What's my passion? What am I supposed to be doing? And in every single city, I had to walk people through this process. And because it became so important, I started to write a book on it, because I basically went through interventions with people where I had them stand up and had them go through a 3-step process that I'm going to walk you through in this video in a minute. And they got a result. And suddenly, after years or decades of no clarity, they had clarity on what they should be doing and what their purpose was, what their passion was, and what their path forward was. Step 1 is who, step 2 is why, and step 3 is how. So let's start with step 1. It's your who. It's your most important core value. Humans are built off of core values, and there's one that's more important than all the others. If you had to decide what is your single most important core value, what is it? You may not know exactly, but you're gonna get pretty close. Just go down this thought exercise for now. What is one important core value that you hold, that if people around you were the opposite of it, it would be toxic to you? It's important to figure out, because when people don't know what their most important core value is, you get pulled into a whole bunch of different directions. You get pulled to follow somebody else's purpose, somebody else's mission, and settle for it. But what you're settling for is crumbs. It's crumbs of purpose, because it's their purpose that you're just kind of helping instead of you actually living your purpose. It makes a massive difference. It starts with what is your single most important core value, and you can look at that by what are all the things that have made you come alive in the past, the people you love, the relationship that worked out, the thing you learned from your teachers the most, why you love those people so much is a common thread. And when you figure that out, it allows you to build a better life and business going forward with intention around your most important core value and bringing people alongside your mission to support you, so you're working with the people who are like-minded instead of having a random assortment of people who might have great skills with different values and it doesn't work out. Step 2 is your why. This is your purpose. Your purpose comes from your pain. Your purpose comes from your pain. Think about the most painful moment you had growing up in your past. It doesn't have to be from 8 years old. Maybe it was something that happened 2 years ago. But the most painful moment in your life, what was it? Where you felt not physical pain, but emotional pain. That you felt worthless as a human being. When did you feel the most worthless as a human being? That moment. Helping other people is built into you, right? Humans are built to serve. But helping people who are exactly like that will be the people that you love helping for the rest of your life. Because whether that was 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, let's just say it was 5 years ago for this example, the person who you were 5 years ago, you've grown a lot since then. You may not be out of the woods. You may not have figured it all out. You're still on your journey. You're still learning and growing, and you never want to stop learning and growing. But you're way better than you used to be. You're way better than you were 5 years ago. Now, there's a lot of people who are exactly who you used to be 5 years ago, and they're struggling, and they need help, and they need guidance, and they're afraid, and they don't know what to do. You can help them. Just like the version of you right now could go back 5 years and help the person who you used to be, there are a lot of people who are what you used to be. They currently are what you used to be. You can help them. And helping them, it's not just a matter of you can. It'll fill you up. It'll never get old for the rest of your life. Your purpose comes from your pain. And then step 3 is your how. This is your passion. So how did you get out of it? How did you solve the problem? Again, you might not be totally out of the woods. You're still learning and growing. Amazing. But you've learned a lot since the person you were 5 years ago. How did you get out of it? What did you do? Was it watching YouTube videos? Was it meditation? Was it getting in shape, eating better food? What was it? What did you do? What did you do to save yourself? That was not a random occurrence. That was not something that can just work for you. That's a recipe that you can apply to help other people as well. The path that you took to get out, or at least get a little bit better than where you used to be, is something that is teachable that you can help other people with as well, and give them hope, and give them momentum, and give them confidence. And again, that will fill you up for the rest of your life.
Rule number 2, ignore the opinions of others.
Your fear of other people's judgment is the single biggest factor holding back the success of your life. You want to serve others. Humans are built to serve others. You need it. It's your purpose. But serving requires someone else. And as long as you're worried about that person's judgment and opinion of you, you will stay still and never act. So you've got one foot on the brake and one foot on the gas, pushing hard, spinning your wheels, and never going anywhere, knowing that you're capable of a lot more, but afraid to take action. I don't tell a lot of stories about my parents. They had a huge impact on my life. They're here on the wall behind me. I'm 8 or 9 years old, and that's them above me. They're really private people, so I keep the stories that I share about them to a minimum. But one of my favorites are when I was in school, I was in art class, and the teacher told me to do a project, and he said, paint a window. And so I painted a window, and then I added a sailboat, and I added sunshine, and I had some curtains, and I added a lot more to the painting. And I failed the assignment because the teacher said, well, I asked you to paint a window and you did all this other stuff. And so my parents went into school later on and said, hey, what was the assignment that you asked Evan to do? And said, well, paint the window. I was like, well, he clearly painted the window. I mean, he did what you told him to do. and they stood up and became a shield for me. And I was blessed to have amazing parents. You might have amazing parents, you might not. It doesn't matter either way. But wherever you learn and however you learn, you have to learn it. That you need to go off and express yourself. You need to go off and create the thing that you want to create, even if the rules tell you that you can't do it. Even if your teachers tell you that that's crazy. Even if your parents tell you you'll never make it and they want you to do something safe and practical. You have to do it, because otherwise you're teaching yourself to play small. And that permeates for life. You have ideas, you're a genius, you've got Michael Jordan level talent at something. You should be off creating amazing things, but you're afraid because of other people's judgment. And as long as that is the thing that is in the back of your head, that you're not afraid of failing, you're afraid of failing in front of somebody else. You'll sing in the shower, but you won't sing on the street because you're afraid of what other people are gonna think about you. And as long as that is the reason why you're not taking action, then you lose for life.
Rule number 3, do difficult things.
You love difficult things. You do. Difficult things are amazing. Difficult things are the best. Difficult things are the only way that you grow. Think about it. What's the opposite of difficult? Easy, safe, inside your comfort zone, boring. The single greatest thing that you can ever do for your confidence is teach yourself that when things get difficult, you don't shrink down, you rise to the occasion. So in my keynote presentations, I used to always use slides as well. I had PowerPoint up and I wouldn't read the text off of the slides, but I have a picture and I tell a story about it, and it would always keep me focused on where my presentation was going. And then I got offered to do a speaking gig in Paris. I was the keynote speech at this big event for this software company, and I was gonna close the show for them. And I had this idea in my head that, what if I didn't do slides? What if I spoke on stage for, I forget how long, 45 minutes to an hour, closing keynote, and I just had one slide, and it was a picture of a rabbit, because I was telling a story about trying to teach a rabbit to climb a tree. And it scared me. I thought, it's difficult. And because that's what I thought, then I had to do it. Because in my head is, well, what if I don't remember where I go? What if I forget the stories? What if I lose track of where I'm at and I'm sitting here on stage, the closing keynote, been paid all this money to come, and I just suck? And because that was the reason, then I had to do it. I had to do it. And so I said, I'm just gonna have one slide. And when the tech team said, hey, what do you want to show on screen? Here it is. It's just one slide. Yep. No videos? Nope. No audio? Nope. One slide, that's it. Put that up. And I practice and I practice and I practice. And because my greatest fear in the world is disappointing people, I probably over practice and had my speech down, and I went and crushed it. But even if I didn't, it was the willingness to try. It's the willingness to do difficult things. That as soon as you feel yourself playing potentially small based off of something being difficult, that means it's go time. That means you have to do it. Because teaching yourself that you think of something that's big and scary and then you crouch down and you shy away and you don't do that, that's an ongoing lesson that you are teaching yourself that you suck. You're telling yourself, if I went and said, what about doing just one slide in France, right? For my Paris keynote. What if it's just one slide and I'm scared of it and I don't do it? I'm teaching myself that I suck. That's what you do. Anytime you approach something big and you don't do it, you're telling yourself you're not capable. You're telling yourself that you suck. And so everybody else might let you off the hook. You may not even tell anybody else about this crazy idea that you have, but you playing small is not acceptable. When something is difficult, you have to attack it head on.
Rule number 4, be your biggest critic and fan.
What do you say when you see yourself in the mirror? When it's just you, when you're all alone, it's just you see yourself in the mirror, what do you say? Do you say great things or do you beat yourself up? Most people, they might act confident and seem like they have it all put together, but secretly they're fighting their own battles, and at home, in private, the comfort of their own home, they're their own worst enemies. The secret is to be your own biggest critic as well as your biggest fan. The push you give yourself has to be from a place of love and potential, not lack and despair. So I recently posted on Instagram a little cartoon of me passing by a mirror, and you see my reflection in the mirror, and the caption says, "I love you." And then I challenge people to say, hey, what do you say to yourself when you look in the mirror? And giving them an 18-day challenge to say, every time you see a reflection of yourself, to say something positive, whether it's I love you or give yourself a compliment, something positive, because I think most people live in the land of negativity. All we see is all the negative things that we're doing and all the things that didn't work out and things that could have been better. And that can actually be very healthy. I think you need to be your own biggest critic. I think you need to have higher standards for yourself than what you're currently doing. But it only works, being your own biggest critic only works when it's based off a foundation of love. When it's based off a foundation of I am an amazing human being and I love myself and I suck at all of these skills. The problem that most people have is you see that you suck at a skill, that you didn't get the result, that you're not good on camera the first time you go out. You didn't get the result, you didn't land the sale, you didn't make the deal, you didn't get the date, whatever it is, you didn't get the result, and then you think that you suck as a human because you don't have the skills. It's the opposite. You're amazing as a human. It has to be from a foundation of love, that you love yourself and that you suck at the skills. And then you can beat yourself up over how do I get better? How do I improve? How do I acquire the skills? How do I move forward towards my goals?
Also, if you want to have more confidence and motivation, check out our 254 series. The link is in our description below.
Surround yourself with greatness. If you want to be more confident, you need to surround yourself with things that make you feel confident. Smash all of those things together, because that's the unique thing that only you can do.
Just because your book has come out, it doesn't mean you should stop marketing. It's not just about week 1 when it just comes out. It's constantly marketing.
Rule number 5, raise your environment.
Your environment has been perfectly created to keep you exactly where you are. Everything around you, your friends, your family, the media you consume, all keeps you exactly where you are. If you want to raise your standards and raise the quality of your life, it starts with raising your environment. So here's a story I haven't told in a while. When I was building up my YouTube channel and I closed my first multi-year deal with a big brand, it was with a CEO, high-powered CEO, one of the largest companies in the world, especially in the entrepreneur space. And it was going to be me and him on my channel every month answering questions from you guys, from the audience. We did a live stream every month. And it wasn't me interviewing him or him interviewing me. It was both of us talking about a certain topic and then taking questions. And I remember driving with my dad. He was getting a new car, and we had this long drive out. For whatever reason, the place where we wanted to buy the car was super far away, and so it gave us this chance to talk in a car. And I just told him about this new deal that I had signed. I remember him asking me, Evan, what gives you the confidence to feel like you're on the same level as this guy? And he didn't mean it in a negative way. It was in a more awestruck way. It's like, man, look at where you've come from, because my family is very humble. Like, you have to be very humble. You have to appreciate what you've got. And so how am I now? How do I see myself on the same stage as this high-powered CEO, being his equal, answering questions? And the question took me aback, and I thought, you know what? He's right. I mean, if this was Evan of 5 years prior, I would have felt not worthy. I would have felt like I couldn't do it. I would have felt like this is too big an opportunity for me. Like I couldn't be the guy to do it. So what changed 5 years ago to where I was at that point? It was my content. It was my channel. It was all the videos that I'm putting up, because in my head, it was a big deal in that this is the largest deal I had signed for 3 years, but more that I'm around Oprah every day, and Dan Pena every day, and Kanye West every day, and all these people every day. And so I feel like I'm with them. And so this CEO deal wasn't that huge a deal, because I had changed my environment, right? I'd raised the stakes in my environment, and that raises your standards. And so I realized, man, this is crazy how important my channel is to myself, at least to my own growth. If it's not to you, at least to my own growth, because you often can't see it on a daily basis. I could not pinpoint the one video I uploaded or the one day that I felt, this is it, it's happened. But if I look back over a 5-year period, a 1-year period, a 6-month period, even a 3-month period, think about who you were 3 months ago. If you're invested in yourself by watching these videos or reading books or anything else, if you're investing in yourself, even just look 3 months back and think, have I grown? How much have you grown in the past 3 months? You may not see it on a daily basis, but with months and then more months and then more months and then years, if you keep on the path, you'll see some tremendous results. You may not even recognize the person who you used to be. And that's why it's so important that you raise your environment.
Rule number 6, get focused.
If you are not focused on your goals, you either don't want them or you are afraid of them. You might just not want to do them. You might be in the wrong thing. You might have picked the wrong goals for the wrong reasons. Or you're afraid of your goals. You're afraid of failing. You're afraid of it not working out and what that means. Either way, the answer is action. If you don't love it, move on immediately. And if you're afraid of it, move into it immediately. Focused action is always the answer. So one of the entrepreneurs that I've invested into, his name is Alex. He helps me run Toronto Dance Salsa, which is the largest salsa dance school in Canada, maybe North America. And we're sitting down reviewing his goals and reviewing his habits and making sure that, you know, what he said he was going to do matches to him accomplishing his goals. And there were a couple things that were big things on the list that he had to get done, and he was afraid of making a mistake. So for example, we're trying to create the interior of the studio and make a wall that speaks to the purpose of the company, speaks to the mission, the vision, what we're trying to accomplish. And we want to have something beautiful that people want to take their pictures on. And he's so afraid of getting it right. He's so afraid of doing the wrong thing that he does nothing. And every time he opens up the file to look at what he wants to do and different ideas, he's afraid he's gonna make a mistake. He's afraid he's gonna invest time, energy, dollars, my money into something that then when people show up, say, huh? And it doesn't work out. He's so afraid to fail that he doesn't take action, which becomes the biggest failure of all. So here was our solution. Procrastination Power Hour. Said every day, PPH, put it into your calendar for 1 hour. This is your PPH time, the thing that you have been procrastinated on, right? The thing that serves the business. If you've been procrastinating on it and you don't like it and it doesn't serve the business, great, get rid of it. That's not what we're talking about. It's the things that you're afraid of, the things that you don't want to make a mistake on, that you're just pushing aside because there's all this busy work that comes in. Because yes, we have to respond to customers, and yes, we got to do all the work that goes into the day-to-day of running the company. But if you're so focused on just the day-to-day and never focus on the things that will actually help you grow, the bigger picture stuff, then guess what happens? You never do the bigger picture stuff. Especially if it's because you're afraid, then you have to take action. So we planned a daily procrastination power hour that he puts into his calendar, and he looks at it. When he gets there, he thinks, what am I procrastinating the most on? And he's got this list and he starts attacking it. And having that in his calendar is the thing that actually started building momentum for those big projects.
Rule number 7, be bold.
What would the boldest version of you do? Think about your mission. Think about your goals. Think about what you are trying to accomplish. You've got what you're doing now, but think about what the boldest version of you, if you summoned the boldest version of you into existence right now, what would he or she tell you to do? So when I did my tour earlier this year, it was 90 days, 23 cities, And at first I wanted to do it for free. I love doing free coffee shop meetups every time I travel to a new city. And I told my agent, Steve in New York, hey man, this is my idea. He said, you need to charge for the event. You gotta play bigger. You gotta do a bolder version of you. And it's freaked me out. It scared me because I don't want to disappoint people. And the idea of charging for something and then me disappointing people and then hitting that fear every 4 days, because I got up in a new city every 3 to 4 days for 90 days, was me being able to conquer my fears. And so Steve pushed me, and I have Steve's voice in my head. It's like, you need to play bigger. You got to do something bolder. What's the next step? And so I'm looking at my next tour coming up in 2020 around my book, Built to Serve, and I'm trying to think, how do I make it even bigger? How do I make it even bolder? Because what I've done has been great. And it's not trying to take away from what I've done. It's amazing. I'm proud of myself. I'm grateful. Awesome. And I know I'm capable of more. And I know I need to do something at the next level, because if I want to go off and accomplish my mission, I need to. Because at the rate I'm going right now, I'm not going to hit 1 billion people. I'm not going to solve the world's biggest problem. I'm not going to have the impact and reach that I know I can have unless I demand more boldness, bigger scale from myself on a daily basis. And so for me, having Steve's voice in my head, having Elon Musk's voice in my head, having Steve Jobs and Ape Giannini and my parents and Kanye West and Howard Schultz constantly in my head, the content that I make is for myself. It's selfish for myself. And then I share it with you guys, and thankfully you like it, so I could build a business around it and hire a team and keep creating more. What makes you bold? What makes you come alive? And how do you summon that creature on a daily basis? If you wake up and you daily, every day, consistently are bringing the boldest version of you, even for 1 year, if you woke up every day for 1 year and summoned the boldest version of you, your life is going to look dramatically different 1 year from today.
Rule number 8, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Stop thinking that you should be fearless. If you go through life fearless, that means you are playing small and not doing anything that is worth doing. You should be dreaming big. You should be pushing boundaries, and in that push comes fear. Instead of trying to be fearless, adopt the mindset that you want to feel the fear and do it anyway. Otherwise, you will never take on big projects, and you'll never accomplish your mission, and you'll always live below the potential that you know you're capable of.
Rule number 9, ask for help.
Not asking for help is selfish. You might think that trying to do everything yourself is selfless, that it's wrong to ask for help and noble to do everything yourself. But you love helping people. You love helping others. Remember that joy you feel when you help somebody and brought a smile to their face knowing you made their week? By you not asking for help, you're cheating people of that opportunity to bring a smile to their face. Stop being selfish and start asking for help. I came up with this idea when I was at a video game cafe. So here's what happened. I was on a call with one of my big customers at the time, and I was in Los Angeles, and we're doing a Google Live, streaming to my YouTube channel, lots of people watching YouTube Live. I'm interviewing him, and then the internet goes down. Like, what happened? The power went out across all of Los Angeles. The power goes out and it's down. I got nothing. The stream is still live, but I'm not there anymore. I left my client live on the stream, and he's not sure what happens. He just sees my camera goes down, and then he keeps going by himself for another 15, 20 minutes, waiting for me to come back. And he's embarrassed, and it's awkward, and he doesn't know what he's doing because the host who has the audience there is now gone. And then eventually he just leaves because he said, well, I don't know where Evan is, but thank you guys for watching. And it put him in a really difficult situation. I felt terrible. I went back to watching the live stream after, like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. Now, it's out of my control. The internet goes down in Los Angeles. What am I supposed to do? There's no power anywhere. So as soon as the power gets back up, I message my client and say, hey man, I'm really sorry about that. Let's reschedule it. Let's do it again when I'm back home in Toronto, where I know I have stable internet, and I want to do it again for free, no extra cost. Even though we had almost finished the live stream together, we're gonna do a whole other one for free just because I want to make this right for you. Great. So we come back to Toronto. It's like a week or two later. And my internet is pretty rock solid in my home office. I've never had an internet issue really happen while I was doing a live stream, but I wanted to make extra sure that this time nothing happened, because if something happened the second time, like, just It would not be a good thing. So I asked my friend Jay Rise, and I said, Jay Rise, I need a place that has rock solid internet that I'm gonna do this live stream and nothing can go wrong. And he said, I got a place, it's an internet cafe that I go to. I'll introduce you to the owner, I know him, and you can do it there. Like, thank you so much. So we go there, I'm there an hour early, I'm setting up, I'm talking to the owner, I'm testing the gear, my microphone, the headset, all of it, the camera, testing all of it, just to make sure that everything is working smoothly. I'm nervous because the last time it failed on us. My client comes on, we go live for half an hour, I don't remember, and it was smooth, perfect, no issues, crisp, amazing internet, blazing fast speeds, great time with the audience, and we delivered an awesome product. Sigh of relief, right? I'm so pumped. I go talk to the owner and say, dude, thank you, man. It was perfect, no complaints, no problems, thank you so much. How much do I owe you? And he said, well, you were on the computer for about an hour and a half, and Jay Raj was on the computer for about an hour and a half, but I'll just bundle it together. So I forget what he told me. It was like $5 or $7 or $10 or something. Like, are you kidding me? I would have paid $1,000. I would have paid a lot of money just to make sure that this went smoothly, because it's the relationship with my client at the time, right? I said, okay, well, great. Here's the $7 that you wanted. Awesome. Let me buy some stuff from behind the counter. Let me buy some snacks from my friend Jay Rise. Jay Rise was hungry. He needed to eat. So like, here's $20, $25. Let me just buy out a whole bunch of your snacks and give it to him. He's like, no, you don't have to do that, man. Don't worry about it. Like, no, I want to do it. Let me buy the snack. No, don't worry about it. The owner thought that he was doing a good thing. The owner thought that he was being selfless, that, hey, don't worry, but you don't have to do it, that just paying for the internet was enough for him. But he was actually being selfish. In that moment, he was being selfish because he cheated me of the opportunity of, one, saying thank you, I wanted to pay more, I want to pay more. You're cheating me of the opportunity to do it, and you're cheating me of the opportunity to help my friend Jay Rise and give him some food because he was hungry, so we had to go somewhere else. You need to be willing to bring other people in. You need to be willing to ask for help. Yes, you don't want to waste your time. Yes, you want to be respectful. Yes, but people love helping others. We are built to serve. You want to help other people. That joy that you feel when you help somebody out, allow it to come into other people's hearts too.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is don't quit on what you love.
If you quit on something too soon that you still love, you will regret it for the rest of your life. If you don't love it anymore, quit. Move on. You will never win doing work that you hate. But if you love it, and you move on to something else, you will look back on this day and regret it for the rest of your life that you did not see it through. Most people spend their entire life living with regrets. Don't let that be you. The hardest decision I ever had to make in my life was being an entrepreneur. I struggled a lot with the decision, do I want to be an entrepreneur, and had this opportunity to make $300 a month and earn 30% of a company versus going to work at a job that I thought I wanted, a job that I'd been preparing myself for, that this is what I wanted to do. It was in my high school yearbook of this is where I was going to be. And here it was, earning 6 figures, traveling around the world, doing the investment banking that I thought I wanted to do, versus making $300 a month and owning 30% of a company. And the thing that allowed me to push through and be an entrepreneur was me saying, I don't want to live with regret. That I would rather no one fail than not know. And I gave myself a year. I said, I'm going to give myself a year to do this. I could always go back and get another job. It may not be the same job. It probably wouldn't be the same job. It may not be as much pay. It may not be traveling as much as this job was offering me to travel. But this entrepreneurial thing, this opportunity that I had, I never knew if it would come back again. Like, I thought maybe this will never happen to me again. And so I decided to go for it. And we struggled and it was hard, but I never ended up having to go back and get another job. And so if you're at an inflection point, if you're thinking about which path should I take, A or B, lean in with your heart. Stop using your head. Your head only understands the world that currently exists. Lean in with your heart and ask yourself, which decision will I regret more if I don't do? And then go take that action. I became an entrepreneur because I didn't want to regret not having at least tried. And a great moment in my life came a number of years later or one of the people I went to university with, came back and said, Evan, I went down that path. I became the investment banker and I hate my life. How do I become an entrepreneur? And I looked in his eyes and I saw the desperation and the sadness and helped him, but also was so grateful that that wasn't me, because it could have been.
Now we got a very special bonus clip that I think you're gonna love. But before that, if you're still watching, we want to celebrate you. If you promise to take action after watching this video, give a hashtag believe in the comment below. We want to celebrate you.
The fastest way to learn anything is to model someone who has done it before you. You don't need to have all the answers yourself. You don't need to have decades of experience to win. If you want to shortcut your path and stop wasting time, you need to learn to model success. So I recently came back from speaking in Phoenix. I was at an event with Brendan Burchard and Dee Graziosi and Eric Thomas and a bunch of amazing speakers. And I have a lot of experience in speaking. I've been listed by Forbes and Inc. magazine as one of the greatest speakers in the world, super humbling award, but I still want to get better. I still want to learn. I still want to improve. And so before getting on stage, I was talking to Brendan Burchard backstage and he said, hey, I'm going to watch your speech. I'm going to finish my interview here and I want to make sure that I watch your speech. And so I get on stage and it's tons of fun. I come back out and Brendan is running down the aisle and he's got his hands up and he's super excited and he said, that was amazing. And he's telling me about how great the speech was and how much I helped his audience and thanking me. And I said, amazing, thank you so much, appreciate you. Let me ask you, how do I make it better? You've done a lot of these, you've done more than I have. You're filling out, huge rooms full of people. How can I get better? I want to model success. I want to learn from somebody who's done more than me. And chances are something great's gonna come back, right? Like, tell me I suck, Brendan, tell me I suck, how do I improve? And he gave me a bunch of great feedback. He said, one, I need to use the stage more. So I was walking kind of like this. I was walking around like this and at a slow pace because I think as I'm going. But he said, no, you need to walk faster. You need to walk faster like this and always facing the audience. And there's this giant stage that I was speaking at, and he said, you gotta make sure you hit both sides of the stage at least 4 times. If you're speaking for an hour, you gotta hit both sides of the stage at least 4 times because, Evan, what you did really well was you kept the people's focus who are really in front of you in this circle, but the people who are out there, they didn't connect with you as much. Great, awesome feedback. I gotta take that home and improve. He also said to be bigger and more animated. And this also makes sense from my salsa background. When you're doing performance on stage, you need to make everything big. Because the people who are up front can see you, but the people who are at the back, they can't see the expressions, they can't see the movement, so it's got to be bigger than you would normally do it. And so even though I knew that lesson from a different set of experiences in salsa dancing, I hadn't applied it yet to my speaking. And so it was great. It was great learning experience. And if I didn't ask Brendan, hey, what can you teach me? How could I do better? The worst case scenario is he says, there's nothing, it was perfect. Great. I want to know how I can improve though, right? And he gave me 2 pieces of advice that now I could take into my next speaking gig to make it even better, right? That's the idea of modeling success. You find people who've done it before, who are better than you at least one certain thing, and ask them, how did they do it? And ask them to critique you and break you down, because through that, you will shortcut your path to getting there faster.
If you want 10 more rules from my husband, Evan Carmichael, check out the video next to me. I think you're gonna enjoy. I'll see you there. Believe.
You go as far as you believe you can go. As long as you love it, you have to keep going. You cannot quit.